In Charlotte, there are few last names more recognizable than Knight, especially at Queen's University of Charlotte. Originally founded in 1857, Queen's has been enriching student lives for over 150 years. The Department of Communication was originally housed in the English department, but in 2008, it moved from the College of Arts and Sciences and into its own College of Communication. Then, in 2011, as a part of a $5,750,000 grant from the Knight Foundation, Queen's University of Charlotte endowed the James L. Knight School of Communication.
We want our students and our graduates to be fearless. They are endowed with a lot of hope. We know that they want to go into the future and serve their communities and to be leaders and advocates, consumers and producers of information. And our school, carrying the Knight name, demands that they look to the future with a great optimism. In journalism history in this country, the Knight name means everything. The Knight family grew a company that became known across the United States and the world and eventually became Knight-Ridder. It meant business excellence, journalistic excellence, integrity, and doing what's right. What's good for business is good for the community. And Jim Knight knew that. When he became publisher in Charlotte, he asked that the newspaper do well, and business would do well, and the community would do well.
James L. Knight and his older brother John built one of America's great newspaper companies, Knight Newspaper, and later Knight-Ridder. John was the editor and James was the nuts and bolts businessman. From Akron to Miami to Philadelphia to Charlotte, they expanded the company with the fundamental belief that each community is local and that strong and fair reporting alongside ethical business practices would serve both the city and the paper.
I think just the honesty and makes me proud of the people that they were, both my father and uncle. And when they turned out newspapers, they wanted them to be fair and honest and not sensational at all, but want to tell the truth. And if they were fair, then people would read them.
After buying the Charlotte Observer in 1954, James released a statement saying that the Observer would be an impartial portrayer of the news, a fearless interpreter of the moving events of our time, and a faithful, sincere, and honest servant of the people.
He was such a great person, first of all, fun-loving, never took himself too seriously, but was very hard-working. Hard-working at work, it meant everything to him. He was so dedicated to what he was doing. He was called the nuts and bolts man, where his brother was more of the editor. But Dad loved what he was doing. And I think if students could carry that hard-working ethic with them throughout their life, they will certainly profit by it.
Today, the Knight Foundation, the Knight's multi-million-dollar nonprofit organization, funds projects that promote informed and engaged communities and lead to the transformational changes in the places where the Knight brothers own newspapers.
Community engagement and community service are core values at Queen's, and we are very proud to be the home of the James L. Knight School of Communication. We're also very proud that James's daughter, Margie Knight-Crane, is one of our graduates and has been a loyal and committed trustee of the university for a number of years.
In the early 1960s, Margie spent 3.5 years majoring in theater arts at Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida, but she left to marry Alpo Francilla Crane before completing her degree. But education was important to Margie, and in the mid-1980s, while raising 3 children, she decided to enroll at Queens. In 1990, she graduated magna cum laude.
Well, to be truthful, he was never very much for putting his name on anything. But I think with having his daughter graduate from Queens and his love of Charlotte, and they're having the paper here, I think he would be very, very pleased. And you know, that was one thing. When I finally graduated from Queens, he was in the hospital. My mother had died some years before, and he had remarried. And we would take turns. 2 sisters would go out to Los Angeles to visit him, and he was often in and out of the hospital. And the one time I went out with my oldest sister, Barbara, and I had taken a picture of Billy Wireman handing me my diploma. And I was shoulder level with my dad in the hospital bed, and Barbara was standing at his feet at the end of the bed. And so I was talking to him, and he was all hooked up or whatever. And then Barbara said, "Well, show him your picture. Show him your picture." Okay. So I held up the picture, and I'm seeing her. She's, "Look at him. He's smiling. He's smiling." Oh, that gave me such a good feeling. I think he really did know. He couldn't obviously talk, but just to see that bit of a smile really got to me. It was a long time in coming that, you know, I finally graduated, but I was proud, and I think he was too.
One of the Knight's key beliefs is that well-informed communities are essential to a healthy democracy. And it's important to us at the Knight School to reach beyond the walls of the classroom. We want our students to be informed and engaged digital citizens, and we want them to be dynamic agents of change. At the Knight School, our faculty and our students are working together to empower their communities and help them thrive.
In order to help us achieve this mission, Margie and Alpo have donated $2 million to the school, with part of the money going toward endowing the Knight-Crane Convergence Lab. This digital learning lab is a fully furnished production facility with 20 desktop computers, a high-definition overhead projector for class presentations and screenings, and 3 50 high-definition plasma televisions with 24-hour news coverage and global updates. The video conferencing system lets students and faculty share their learning experience with other communication students across the globe. Alpo and Margie's donation also helped create the Media and Learning Technology Lab accessible to all Queens students and a state-of-the-art green room production facility.
That it will always be one of the tops, and that people will come because they've heard of it, and that it keeps up with technology, which is demanding in itself. Things change so quickly, but in the future, I know there'll be changes as we change all our little gadgets and technology changes. But no, I hope that it always keeps his name and the quality that it has today.
Our digital learning labs ensure that our students stay current and stay connected in modern society. However, a degree in communication is about much more than technology. It's also about people. As a part of their generosity toward the Knight School and their commitment to education, Alpo and Margie Knight-Crane also established the Knight-Crane Endowed Chair of Communication.
I'm honored and privileged to hold the Knight-Crane Endowed Chair in the Knight School of Communication. I think it comes with its own responsibilities, I try to represent my school, and I try to represent Queens in as good of a way as possible at conferences and meetings and in my own research. I'm particularly fortunate that Margie Knight and Alpo Crane happen to have a very rich international experience. They've always been very supportive of my research agenda and very passionate about it. They always come to my talks, which I give in the community. And I'm just lucky that they have this kind of insight that allows me to share my own research agenda with them on a continuous basis. I try to also share my research results with the student body here at Queens, inside the classroom and outside the classroom.
This endowed chair position is especially important to the Knight-Cranes because of their own unique global perspective. In 1972, the Finnish government honored Margie's father with the insignia of Commander of the Order of the Lion of Finland in recognition of his meritorious service rendered in promoting the economic and cultural ties between Finland and the United States. And Margie's husband, Alpo, was born in Finland. He came to the United States when he was 13 years old. After Margie and Alpo were married in 1964, Margie joined Alpo in Glendale, Arizona, where Alpo was working on an MBA at the Thunderbird School of International Management. Upon graduation in 1966, Alpo joined Emerson Electric Company's subsidiary in Elyria, Ohio. After a year there, they were transferred to St. Truiden, Belgium, and a year after that to the Far East, where they lived in Japan. That assignment lasted for 2.5 years, at which time they returned to the United States in 1970.
We feel very, very proud of it that we were able to do this, and that how well and quickly Queens has developed this School of Communication and so forth, and of course the getting such talents as Mohammed is, and et cetera, and this we're very proud of that as well.
Because of their global perspective, Alpo and Margie believe that all students should broaden their understanding of the world in which they live. Along with the Knight Foundation, their generosity toward the Knight School and Queen's University of Charlotte helps students communicate with and better understand the world around them.